Sergeant Alex Mercer sat in the dimly lit briefing room, staring at the hollow screen that projected the mission details. His squad had just returned from a grueling operation on Delta 7, and he was already exhausted. His body ached from the constant drills, the long flights between star systems, and the endless cycles of combat. Yet duty never paused, and neither did the command. Another assignment awaited. "Sergeant Mercer," a voice said, cutting through his thoughts. Alex turned sharply. A junior officer, still wet behind the ears but confident in his uniform, approached. "You have a new partner for the upcoming operation." He had learned to trust the Coalition's protocols, but experience had taught him that surprises rarely came without a sting. "Partner?" he asked, his tone neutral but cautious. The officer nodded. "Yes, Sergeant. An alien companion has been assigned to you. He, or it, is from the Krith species." They were not enemies exactly, but allies were complicated when they came in scales, claws, and a mind that worked differently from a human's. Krith were intelligent, telepathic, and notoriously unpredictable. Many soldiers found them frustrating in combat. Many more feared them. Alex's jaw tightened. "Assigned randomly. Command believes you two will work effectively together." Most had been competent, but none had ever truly understood the human way of thinking, our instincts, our impulsive judgment, our ability to adapt in ways no protocol could predict. He didn't doubt Zyrak's intelligence. He doubted the idea of working closely with someone, or something, that might not even value life the way humans did. "Report to Docking Bay 7 at 700, the officer said, leaving without another word. Alex watched him go, thinking about the Krith. He had heard stories. Their telepathy was both a gift and a curse. Some humans had claimed they could read your intentions before you even thought them. Others said they were cold, calculating, and difficult to trust. That night Alex tried to rest, but sleep came reluctantly. His thoughts swirled with caution, anticipation, and curiosity. He wondered what Zyrak would look like, how he would behave, and how they could possibly function as a team. By morning, the questions had become sharper. Docking Bay 7 was alive with the hum of starship engines, the echo of footsteps, and the occasional barked order. Alex strode in, rifle slung across his back, scanning the area for his new companion. At first, he saw only the shadows and movement of other soldiers preparing for departure. Then he noticed a figure waiting near the transport shuttle. The alien stood tall, taller than Alex expected, with scaled skin that shimmered faintly in the overhead lights. Its eyes were large, vertical slits that seemed to pierce straight through him. Its limbs were long, with hands ending in sharp, dexterous claws. Despite the intimidating appearance, there was a grace in its stance, a deliberate calm that made Alex uneasy. Zyrak's voice entered his mind without a sound. "You are Mercer. I am Zyrak. We work together." Alex froze. Telepathy, direct communication. Not a word, just thought. He quickly adapted, focusing on the alien's presence without showing fear. "I'm Sergeant Mercer," he replied aloud, testing the waters. "You are cautious, wise." Alex's lips twitched. He had expected arrogance, indifference, maybe even condescension, but not a simple observation. "Do you usually read everyone's mind?" he asked, keeping his tone steady. "Only when necessary." The shuttle engines roared as boarding began. The squad formed up, and Alex fell into his usual position at the front. Zyrak moved silently beside him, a perfect shadow. Despite himself, Alex felt a flicker of curiosity. He studied the alien's movements, fluid, efficient, controlled. Every step seemed intentional, every motion precise. The journey to the mission site was tense but uneventful. Alex remained watchful, not just for the enemy, but for Zyrak. He observed how the Krith reacted to minor vibrations in the ship, how it tilted its head at subtle changes in the environment. The alien noticed everything, processed everything, and communicated without speaking. Alex realized that this would be unlike any partnership he had ever experienced. When the ship landed, the squad stepped onto the surface of a harsh, rocky world. The terrain was jagged and unforgiving, the sky a pale orange, swirling with dust and strange clouds. Their mission was reconnaissance, gather intelligence on Vorax activity in the region. A simple assignment, or so the command had said. Alex knew better. Simplicity was a concept, not a guarantee. As they moved, Alex felt the alien presence beside him, constant and silent. Zyrak's telepathic voice slipped into his mind sporadically, offering insights, warnings, and occasional observations. Terrain uneven. Vorax sensors active. Suggest alternate path. Alex followed the advice, noting that the alien's instincts were sharp. Yet he resisted relying on it completely. Humans had survived because of instinct, creativity, and stubbornness. Zyrak's abilities were impressive, but they were tools, not replacements. The first sign of trouble came suddenly. A Vorax drone, sleek and menacing, emerged from a ridge ahead. Its sensors glowed red as it scanned the terrain. The squad froze. Alex's heart raced, not from fear but from anticipation. They had trained for this moment countless times, but every encounter was different. Zyrak acted first. Without a word, it moved, its body blending into the shadows, striking with precision. The drone fell silently, neutralized before it could alert the others. Alex blinked. He had not expected such efficiency. "You move fast," he said aloud, more curious than angry. "Efficiency ensures survival," Zyrak replied in thought. Alex nodded, his respect growing despite his initial reluctance. Survival had always been his priority, too, but he had never seen it executed with such precision. They continued, scanning the area, moving carefully through rocky outcroppings and shadowed valleys. The alien offered occasional advice, sometimes cryptic, sometimes obvious. Alex found himself listening more than he intended. He began to see patterns in Zyrak's thinking, a method to the alien's silence. Hours passed. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the landscape. Finally, they reached the edge of a ridge overlooking a Vorax encampment. Alex crouched, surveying the area, analyzing the patrols, the technology, the layout. He was about to formulate a plan when Zyrak placed a claw gently on his shoulder. "Do not trust the sensors. Vorax have disguised traps. Move left." Alex followed the direction, finding concealed mines that would have alerted the enemy and compromised their mission. He felt a surge of admiration. This alien companion whom he had doubted had just saved the squad from certain disaster. "Good eye," Alex said quietly. Zyrak inclined its head, expression unreadable but somehow approving. As night fell, the squad set up a temporary camp. Alex couldn't sleep immediately. He stared at the stars, thinking about the partnership. Humans prided themselves on independence, but perhaps adaptability and trust in the right allies were equally valuable. He wondered if he could truly work with Zyrak, not just tolerate it. The Krith settled nearby, watching quietly. Occasionally, Alex felt a thought brush against his mind. A simple statement, a warning, a reflection. It was unsettling, yes, but also oddly comforting. They were not just partners, they were connected in a way humans rarely experienced. By the time he finally rested, Alex realized something important. This alien companion was more than just an assignment. Zyrak's presence was a challenge to everything he thought he knew about partnership, loyalty, and strategy. And perhaps, just perhaps, he was ready to accept that challenge. The first day of the mission had ended without disaster, but Alex knew the real test had yet to come. Vorax forces were unpredictable, and the terrain offered no mercy. But as he watched Zyrak scan the horizon with its glowing eyes, he felt a cautious optimism. The Krith was more than an alien soldier. It was a companion, one who might change the way humans approached war and survival. And in that thought, a small spark of excitement flickered in Alex Mercer's heart. The alien world stretched endlessly before them, its rocky ridges and jagged cliffs cutting harsh silhouettes against the dim light of the twin suns. Sergeant Alex Mercer led his squad carefully, every step measured, every glance alert. He could feel Zyrak beside him, a silent shadow whose presence was unsettling and oddly reassuring all at once. The mission was reconnaissance. They were to map the Vorax outpost reported on this planet, gather intelligence on troop numbers, and avoid detection. Easy on paper, impossible in reality. Alex had learned early that the Vorax were cunning, and terrain like this worked in their favor. The squad moved with practiced efficiency. Corporal Jenna Morris walked on Alex's right, scanning the horizon with her rifle ready. Private Louis Reyes followed closely, his nervous glances betraying his inexperience. Zyrak moved silently on Alex's left, almost unnaturally quiet, its eyes glinting in the dim light. Alex had initially resisted depending on the Krith. He had survived countless missions relying solely on human instinct and teamwork. But now he found himself glancing at Zyrak's movements, noting the alien's subtle adjustments, the way it shifted weight to avoid loose rocks, the precise timing of its steps. Vorax drones ahead, Zyrak's voice entered his mind, soft but urgent. Sensors active, patrols moving east, recommend alternate path. Alex considered it, then nodded. "Copy that," he muttered aloud, shifting the squad slightly to the left. As they moved, Alex noted the smooth efficiency of Zyrak's actions. The alien did not speak, did not make noise, yet the team moved with a silent cohesion Alex had not expected. Suddenly, a low hum cut through the air. Alex froze. He could feel the vibrations in the rocky ground, faint but distinct. Vorax drones, sleek, metallic, and deadly, were approaching, their sensors scanning. The squad crouched behind a ridge. Alex's heart pounded in his chest, but he forced himself to focus. Panic was useless. Strategy was everything. They are faster than they appear, Zyrak warned in thought. They can detect movement beyond visual range. Alex scanned the terrain. The ridge offered partial cover, but exposure would be deadly. He had only seconds to decide. Then he saw it, a narrow crevice that led down to a hidden path along the base of the cliffs. It was risky, treacherous, but it offered concealment. "Move," Alex whispered sharply. The squad followed, feet silent on the rough ground. Zyrak led the way, body low and alert, sensing the Vorax's every motion. The drones passed above, oblivious to their presence, and Alex exhaled quietly. For a moment, there was relief, but Alex knew it was temporary. Reconnaissance would soon turn into confrontation if the Vorax detected them. Hours passed as they navigated the jagged landscape, documenting outposts and patrol routes, marking positions for the coalition. Zyrak continued to offer guidance, sometimes cryptic, sometimes direct. Alex resisted relying on it too heavily, but he couldn't deny its effectiveness. Then disaster struck. A sudden explosion rocked the ground ahead. The squad froze as dust and debris erupted into the air. Alex's instincts kicked in. "Take cover," he shouted. The squad dove behind rocks, rifles raised. A Vorax patrol had discovered a hidden sensor, and their presence was no longer secret. The squad was pinned down, outnumbered, and exposed. Alex's mind raced. They had no backup. They were deep in enemy territory. Survival depended on quick thinking and trust, something he was not yet fully willing to extend to Zyrak. Left flank exposed. Zyrak warned telepathically, "They are moving in. Recommend immediate countermeasures." Alex's jaw tightened. He looked at the alien, noting its precision and calm. He swallowed his pride. "Fine," he thought, "we do it your way." "Zyrak, cover the left." "We flank from the right?" Alex barked. Zyrak's eyes glowed faintly, and it moved with a speed and agility that stunned even Alex. The alien launched itself onto a rocky outcrop, claws striking with deadly precision. Vorax patrols fell silently before they could react. Alex led the squad along the right flank, navigating the uneven terrain while returning fire. The humans' shots were less precise than Zyrak's, but their instincts allowed them to adapt, improvising positions and movements in ways no alien could anticipate. The battle was chaotic, but the combination of human improvisation and Krith precision worked. The Vorax drones were advanced, but they had never faced a team that could anticipate and adapt simultaneously. Alex marveled despite the danger. Survival, he realized, wasn't about individual skill alone. It was about synergy, unexpected partnerships, and trust. At one point, a drone aimed directly at Alex, its sensors locking onto him. Before he could react, Zyrak leaped, claws extended, and smashed the drone's core, sending sparks flying. Alex blinked in shock. The alien had saved him again. "Thanks," he muttered under his breath. "No need for thanks. Focus." Alex followed, pushing forward with renewed determination. He noticed something in Zyrak's movements, an awareness not just of danger, but of strategy, predicting the enemy's next moves, even their weaknesses. He realized the Krith was not merely a soldier. It was an advanced partner, a mind designed to anticipate, react, and adapt in ways humans could not fully grasp. By the time they reached the outer perimeter of the Vorax outpost, the squad was battered but alive. Alex's heart pounded in his chest, sweat mixing with the dust and grime of the harsh terrain. The Vorax facility loomed ahead, dark and imposing, its structures alien and mechanical. Sensors indicate heavy patrols. Suggest stealth approach. Zyrak communicated silently. Alex nodded. "Stealth it is." He gestured to the squad, signaling for careful movement. They crept forward, keeping low and silent. Every step carried the weight of life and death. Suddenly, a Vorax drone exploded nearby, sending debris flying. Private Ray's yelped, stumbling to the side. Alex lunged forward, grabbing him and pulling him behind cover. His instincts had saved the young soldier, just as Zyrak had saved him multiple times. He realized then that human intuition and courage were equally vital in this partnership. Hours of tense observation passed. The squad gathered critical data on Vorax defenses, patrol routes, and the location of a suspected weapons cache. Zyrak's telepathy allowed them to anticipate movements, avoid traps, and plan a route back to the ship. But as they turned to leave, an alarm blared. A Vorax drone had discovered them. The squad scattered. Alex ran, weaving between rocks, heart pounding. Zyrak followed, its movements fluid and precise. The drones pursued, their sensors glowing red in the dim light. Alex knew they had no chance of outrunning them if they relied solely on speed. He glanced at Zyrak, whose eyes reflected determination. "Follow my lead," the alien communicated. Zyrak led them into a narrow canyon, its walls steep and jagged. The drones followed but struggled with the terrain. Using the canyon's features, Zyrak coordinated a series of attacks, disabling several drones with surgical precision. Alex and his squad exploited the chaos, moving with human ingenuity, improvising paths and maneuvers the drones could not predict. By the time they reached the landing zone, the squad was exhausted, battered, and barely holding together. Yet they were alive. Alex looked at Zyrak, and for the first time he felt a sense of respect, not just for the alien's skill, but for its loyalty, intelligence, and courage. You saved us," Alex said, his voice rough. "We survived together," Zyrak replied. Alex nodded, feeling an unfamiliar warmth in his chest. The Krith had proven itself in ways he could not ignore. Survival, he realized, depended on more than raw skill. It depended on trust, adaptability, and the willingness to work with the unexpected. As the squad boarded the shuttle for their return, Alex reflected on the day's events. He had doubted Zyrak, questioned its motives, and resisted its presence. Yet in the crucible of combat, the alien had not only saved lives but had taught him a lesson. Humans could adapt, improvise, and overcome, but even the strongest humans needed allies. And sometimes, those allies were not human at all. The shuttle lifted off, carrying the squad away from the hostile world. Alex watched the rocky terrain recede below, thinking about the bond that had begun to form between him and Zyrak. It was tentative, cautious, and full of tension, but it was there. For the first time in his career, Alex Mercer felt that this partnership, strange and uncertain as it was, might become something more, something essential. And deep down, he knew that the real challenge had only just begun. The shuttle hummed softly as it glided through the vast expanse of space, carrying Sergeant Alex Mercer and his squad back to the Coalition base. The mission on the Vorax planet had been dangerous, exhausting, and revealing. Alex sat quietly, staring out the small viewport, watching distant stars streak past. Zyrak remained nearby, its scaled body poised and still, eyes reflecting the dim light of the cabin. Alex had expected alien partners to be distant, calculating, and almost cold in their approach. Zyrak had defied all those assumptions. The Krith had saved him and the squad multiple times during the mission, anticipating danger and acting with a precision no human could replicate. And yet, despite Zyrak's extraordinary abilities, Alex felt an uneasy tension between them, one that went beyond battlefield tactics. As the shuttle approached the base, Commander Harlan greeted them. He was a tall man, grizzled with experience and known for his sharp judgment. "Good work out there, Mercer," he said, clasping Alex's shoulder. "And you too," he added, glancing at Zyrak. Alex nodded, but the Krith did not respond aloud. Instead, it simply inclined its head, a silent acknowledgement. Once inside the debriefing room, Alex found himself seated across from Zyrak, who remained motionless, eyes focused yet distant. The squad filed out one by one, leaving only Alex and the alien. The room was quiet, except for the soft hum of machinery and the occasional beep from the data consoles. "You moved well out there," Alex said finally, breaking the silence. "Faster than I expected, smarter than I expected." He had heard that before from other species, but coming from Zyrak, it carried a different weight. There was no judgment in the statement, only observation. Unpredictable was both a warning and a compliment. "Unpredictable can be an advantage," Zyrak continued. "It can also be a weakness. You have traits rare among humans, Mercer." Alex's brow furrowed. "Traits? What do you mean?" "You improvise, you adapt, you survive." Alex felt a strange mix of pride and discomfort. He had always relied on those traits to survive. They had gotten him through impossible situations before, yet he had never considered that an alien might notice, analyze, and value them in a way he hadn't imagined. "You're saying you were assigned to me for that reason?" he asked, skeptical but curious. "Partially," Zyrak admitted. "Your species, certain individuals possess the ability to respond to unknown variables quickly. Command believes we can learn from each other." Alex leaned back, absorbing the information. He had always known humans were resourceful, adaptive, and resilient. That was why they survived against odds that should have been insurmountable. But to hear that an alien recognized it and that it had influenced his pairing was both validating and unsettling. "Learn from each other," he repeated slowly. "So you think I'm exceptional?" He had faced countless enemies, survived countless missions, but this was different. The battlefield had tested his physical skill, his instincts, and his courage. Now he was being tested in ways that were mental, emotional, and strategic. "Fine," he said finally, his voice steady. "If I'm a candidate, then I'll do my part. But we do it as partners, not as teacher and student." The Krith never spoke aloud unless necessary, yet its telepathic communication was constant. Observations, warnings, occasional insights into terrain or enemy behavior. One afternoon, Alex and Zyrak were assigned to analyze the intelligence gathered on the Vorax weapons facility. The data was dense: patrol schedules, energy readings, structural layouts, and patterns that could indicate hidden defenses. Alex sat at the console, scrolling through the holographic images, while Zyrak leaned beside him, claws brushing lightly against the table. "Those patterns," Zyrak said telepathically, "they repeat. Vorax rely on predictability, but with slight variations. You can use that." Occasionally, Alex would glance at the alien and catch a glimmer of understanding, a hint that it was observing him as much as the data. "You watch me too much," Alex muttered half-jokingly. "Observation is part of partnership," Zyrak replied. "Understanding your thought patterns allows synchronization." Alex raised an eyebrow. "Synchronization, huh? You make it sound like we're going to dance instead of fight." It was about thinking ahead, predicting outcomes, and sometimes trusting instincts that could not be quantified. Days later, Alex was called to a strategy meeting with the commander. Zyrak accompanied him, moving with quiet efficiency beside his side. The room was filled with officers from various species, all discussing the coalition's next moves against the Vorax. Intelligence suggested that the Vorax were constructing a new weapon, a device that could turn the tide of the war if left unchecked. "We need a team capable of precision strikes," the commander said. "Recon, infiltration, and if necessary, sabotage. Casualties must be minimized." He looked at Alex. "You will lead this mission. And you will work with Zyrak." Alex studied the Vorax layouts, patrol patterns, and energy outputs, while Zyrak offered insights the humans would never have considered. They debated tactics, proposed contingencies, and argued silently through thought when opinions diverged. Alex found himself respecting Zyrak's perspective more and more, even when he disagreed. The alien's mind worked differently, but in ways that complemented his own. One evening, as they worked late in the dim glow of the planning room, Zyrak spoke in a more personal tone. "You carry burdens, Mercer." Alex looked up sharply. "What do you mean?" Alex felt a flicker of vulnerability, quickly suppressed. "I carry what every soldier carries: experience, lessons, losses, nothing unusual." There was something in Zyrak's tone that was more than observation. It was recognition, acknowledgement. Humans often struggled with expressing or even recognizing emotion. Yet here was an alien, cold in appearance but insightful in understanding the complexities of human thought and feeling. For the first time, Alex allowed himself to consider the possibility. Perhaps Zyrak's assignment was not only to utilize his skills, but also to understand them. Perhaps this was a test of compatibility, trust, and human potential. The night deepened, and the base grew quiet. Alex and Zyrak remained, poring over maps and patrol data. They were not just preparing for a mission. They were learning each other's strengths, weaknesses, and patterns. Alex realized that this was an unusual partnership, one that could surpass conventional human-alien teamwork. When they finally left the planning room, the bond between them had subtly shifted. Alex had come to respect Zyrak's abilities, but more importantly, he had begun to understand the reasoning behind the alien's actions, the precision, and the silent loyalty. Zyrak moved beside him as they walked toward the barracks. "You are more capable than you believe, Mercer," the alien thought. Alex smiled faintly. "And you are more human than I expected." Zyrak's eyes flickered briefly, an acknowledgement of the rare human compliment. Neither spoke aloud, yet a mutual understanding passed between them. They were not friends, at least not yet, but a partnership was forming, tempered in the fires of survival and shared purpose. In the days that followed, Alex found himself reflecting on the mission, the data, and the lessons learned from Zyrak. Humans prided themselves on adaptability, courage, and ingenuity. Now he understood that these traits were amplified when combined with alien intelligence, precision, and foresight. Together, they could achieve far more than either could alone. And yet, a shadow of doubt lingered in his mind. The Vorax were clever, dangerous, and ruthless. Their next move could strike at any moment. Alex knew that while the reconnaissance mission had been a success, it was only the beginning. The true challenge, the one that would test human resilience and the value of his partnership with Zyrak, was still ahead. As he lay on his bunk that night, staring at the ceiling, Alex Mercer felt a mix of anticipation, uncertainty, and determination. Zyrak sat quietly nearby, a silent sentinel. Both were preparing in their own ways for the coming storm. And in that preparation, Alex realized that the bond they were forging might not only save lives, it could change the way humans approached war, survival, and trust across species. For the first time, Alex understood that human potential was not measured by courage alone, but by the ability to adapt, learn, and embrace the unexpected, even when it came in the form of an alien companion. And for Zyrak, this human was proving to be far more than just another soldier. The Vorax weapons facility loomed ahead like a dark fortress, jagged towers and metallic walls reflecting the dim light of the planet's twin suns. Sergeant Alex Mercer crouched behind a rocky outcrop, surveying the terrain. The mission ahead was no longer reconnaissance. It was a strike. They were to infiltrate the facility, gather intelligence, and if possible, sabotage the Vorax's new weapon before it could be used against the Coalition. Alex felt the familiar tension in his chest. The facility was heavily guarded, with patrols, automated drones, and energy shields designed to detect even the smallest disturbances. Every step would be dangerous. Every miscalculation could cost lives. Beside him, Zyrak's scaled body blended with the shadows. The Krith's eyes glowed faintly, reflecting alertness and anticipation. Alex glanced at his alien companion. They had trained together, learned each other's rhythms, and formed a tentative bond. Yet in moments like this, the uncertainty of the mission threatened to undermine even the strongest partnership. Sensors indicate multiple patrols ahead. Recommend split movement for optimal infiltration. Zyrak communicated silently. Alex nodded. Split movement it is. Keep communication open. No mistakes. He adjusted his squad's positions, directing them into discrete paths that would allow them to bypass the main patrols. The terrain was unforgiving. Sharp rocks cut into their boots, loose gravel threatened slips, and the wind carried fine dust that stung their eyes. Yet Alex led steadily, trusting his instincts and the alien guidance beside him. The first patrol came into view. A group of Vorax soldiers moved cautiously along a ridge, their metallic armor glinting in the light. Alex signaled silently, and the squad froze. Zyrak moved first, leaping onto a higher rock and striking with precise, deadly force. The Vorax soldiers fell silently, neutralized before they could raise alarms. Alex followed, leading the squad through the shadows. Each step was calculated, each breath measured. They reached the outer perimeter of the facility, where energy shields hummed, guarding entrances. Zyrak scanned the field, telepathically probing the shield frequencies. Weak point here, it indicated, pointing with a claw. Timing is critical, wait for cycle. Alex studied the shield, noting its pulsing rhythm. He signaled the squad. On my mark, move. The team dashed through the weak point, slipping inside just as the shield pulsed harmlessly above them. Inside, the facility was a maze of corridors, machinery, and alien technology. The air was heavy, filled with the hum of energy generators and distant mechanical movements. Alex's instincts screamed caution. One wrong step could trigger alarms. Sensors show a Vorax patrol converging from the north. Suggest diversion, Zyrak advised. Alex nodded. We split, I'll take north. Zyrak, you cover south, keep eyes open. Suddenly, a misstep by Private Reyes sent a metallic tray clattering to the floor. Alex's heart leapt. Alarmed Vorax soldiers rounded the corner. Zyrak, Alex thought frantically. Already handled, Zyrak replied. Before Alex could react, the Krith launched from above, incapacitating 2 soldiers with rapid precision. The remaining Vorax froze, then retreated, stunned by the unexpected assault. Alex exhaled, shaking his head in disbelief. Every time, he muttered. Zyrak's presence had saved them again. He had learned to rely on the alien, but even now he marveled at the Krith's efficiency. They pressed deeper into the facility, reaching the central chamber where the weapon was rumored to be constructed. The room was vast, filled with humming machinery and glowing conduits. In the center, partially covered by scaffolding, was a massive device, the weapon. It pulsed ominously, energy flowing in streams that could obliterate entire colonies if activated. Alex signaled the squad to hold position. They could not afford mistakes now. Zyrak moved ahead, scanning for traps, sensors, and patrols. Weapon core unstable, requires precise handling to disable. Vorax presence significant, risk high, it warned. Alex studied the core, noting the alien design. It was unlike anything human engineers had ever seen, yet he understood the principle: disrupt the flow, sever the connection, neutralize the energy. He glanced at Zyrak. We do this together, step by step. They moved carefully, dismantling shields and bypassing sensors. The first stage was successful. Then alarms blared. Patrols flooded the corridors, rushing toward the central chamber. Alex's heart raced. The squad was surrounded, and the noise threatened to alert the entire facility. "Defensive positions," Alex shouted. "Zyrak, cover our flanks." Amid the battle, Alex noticed Corporal Morris trapped under debris from a collapsed walkway. Without thinking, he darted forward, dodging attacks and leaping over energy conduits. Zyrak followed, intercepting Vorak's soldiers with precise force, clearing the path for Alex. He reached Morris, lifted the debris, and pulled her to safety. She looked at him, wide-eyed, as he helped her to her feet. "Thanks," she whispered. Alex nodded, glancing at Zyrak. The alien's eyes met his, reflecting mutual respect. "You are human," it communicated. "Courage is notable." Alex allowed himself a brief smile, though the battle raged on around them. They had reached the weapon core, and now the most dangerous task remained: disabling it without triggering a catastrophic explosion. "Zyrak, I need you on the core interface. I'll cover you," Alex instructed. "Understood," Zyrak replied. It moved swiftly, its claws interacting with the alien control panels with precision. Alex positioned himself at the entrance, rifle ready, scanning for threats. The Voraks were relentless. More soldiers streamed into the chamber, determined to protect the weapon. Alex fired, ducked, and improvised, using every skill and instinct he possessed. Human reflexes, unpredictability, and courage were on full display. Zyrak worked furiously, dismantling the weapon's energy conduits, severing connections, and overriding safety protocols. Sparks flew, the machine groaned, and energy streams flickered dangerously. The room shook with the raw power of the device, threatening to consume everything. Suddenly, a Vorax soldier lunged at Zyrak, aiming to stop the Krith from completing the sabotage. Alex reacted instantly, tackling the soldier with a powerful surge, blocking the attack. Zyrak finished the final sequence, and the weapon shut down, falling silent. The chamber echoed with the heavy breathing of the squad. Alex looked around. The Vorax had been neutralized, the weapon disabled, and his team alive. His heart pounded with adrenaline, relief, and pride. Zyrak turned toward him, eyes glowing faintly. Mission successful. Alex approached the alien, placing a hand lightly on its shoulder. "We did it. Together." "Together," Zyrak confirmed. As they exited the facility, the squad gathered outside. The planet's dim light cast long shadows, but the feeling of victory was strong. Alex knew they had faced impossible odds, yet they had survived. Not just survived, but succeeded. Human courage and adaptability had combined with alien precision and insight to overcome a threat far greater than themselves. On the shuttle ride back, the squad was quiet, exhausted, but alive. Alex sat beside Zyrak, who remained alert, scanning the horizon. The bond between them had deepened, not just as partners in combat, but as allies who had faced death together and emerged victorious. Alex reflected on the mission. The Krith had saved him countless times, yet he had also saved others, made decisions no alien could anticipate, and adapted to situations in ways that had ensured success. He realized that humans were not just resilient, they were unpredictable, courageous, and capable of remarkable ingenuity. Zyrak's eyes flickered, sensing his thoughts. Human traits valuable, combined efforts formidable. Alex nodded, formidable indeed. He understood now that the partnership was more than tactical. It was a demonstration of what humans could achieve when they embraced collaboration, trust, and adaptability, even with the most unexpected allies. As the stars stretched past the viewport, Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose. The Vorax threat was diminished, but not gone. Other missions awaited, challenges he could not yet foresee. And through them all, Zyrak would be there, an ally, a companion, a testament to the strength of human courage and ingenuity when combined with the wisdom of another species. For Alex Mercer, the battlefield had taught a powerful lesson. Humanity's greatest weapon was not technology, not strength, nor numbers. It was the ability to think, adapt, and act when everything else failed, and to form bonds that could defy expectations, even across species. And with Zyrak at his side, Alex knew that no challenge, no enemy, and no danger could ever truly overwhelm them. Together, they were unstoppable. The shuttle soared through the dark expanse of space, carrying Sergeant Alex Mercer, Zyrak, and the squad away from the Vorax planet. The mission had been perilous, testing every skill, every instinct, and every ounce of courage the humans possessed. The weapon had been disabled, the Vorax facility neutralized, and for the first time in weeks, Alex felt a fragile sense of relief. But relief was fleeting. In war, there was always another threat, another battle waiting beyond the stars. Alex knew this. He had seen comrades fall, allies betray, and plans crumble under pressure. Yet as he watched Zyrak sit beside him, silent but alert, he felt a new kind of confidence, one born of partnership, respect, and trust. The shuttle docked at the Coalition base, and the squad stepped out, weary but alive. Commander Harlan met them at the airlock, his expression a mixture of relief and pride. "Excellent work, Mercer and Zyrak. You both performed beyond expectations." Patrol patterns, energy signatures, and structural schematics were laid out across holographic screens. The Coalition needed this information to prevent future threats and plan strategic defenses. Data confirms mission success. Vorax capability significantly diminished, Zyrak noted telepathically. Alex studied the information carefully. "We did what we came to do, but we also learned a lot. Their weaknesses, their patterns, everything we know now could save countless lives." Zyrak's abilities had been extraordinary, but human traits had been equally essential. He realized that survival, success, and even victory were not about a single strength. They were about combining different skills, perspectives, and talents. After the debriefing, Alex walked through the base toward the barracks. Zyrak followed silently, matching his stride. The corridors were quiet, the usual hum of activity subdued after the recent operations. Alex reflected on the journey that had brought them here, from skepticism and mistrust to mutual respect and understanding. He paused near a window, staring at the stars stretching endlessly beyond the glass. He thought about the Vorax facility, the weapons they had dismantled, and the lives they had saved. He thought about his squad, who had followed him with courage and loyalty, and about Zyrak, whose intelligence and skill had been indispensable. "You reflect deeply," Zyrak noted. Alex smiled faintly. "It's hard not to after what we went through." Alex felt a swell of pride. Humans often underestimated themselves in the vast galaxy, comparing themselves to advanced alien civilizations. Yet moments like this reminded him that humanity's greatest strengths were not technology or numbers, but courage, intuition, and the capacity to act when everything else seemed impossible. Over the next days, the Coalition honored the squad for their bravery. Medals were awarded, commendations given, and records updated to reflect the mission's critical success. Alex accepted his accolades quietly, his mind focused on more than recognition. He thought about the bond he had forged with Zyrak, the trust that had been tested and proven under fire. During a quiet moment in the base, Alex and Zyrak sat together in the observation deck, overlooking the galaxy beyond. The stars sparkled like scattered jewels, each one a reminder of endless possibilities, challenges, and adventures. "Partnership successful," Zyrak said. "Potential for further collaboration high." Alex chuckled softly. "You really don't make small talk, do you?" Words were not always necessary to understand respect, trust, and loyalty. Actions during the mission had spoken louder than any dialogue. Alex realized that Zyrak, despite its alien nature, had proven itself not only a partner in combat, but also a companion who valued the same principles he did: courage, perseverance, and the protection of life. Weeks passed, and life on the base returned to a routine rhythm. Training continued, missions were planned, and alliances maintained. Yet the bond between Alex and Zyrak remained. They trained together, studied enemy tactics, and shared insights. Mutual respect had grown into genuine understanding. One afternoon, Alex was approached by Commander Harlan. "Sergeant Mercer, Zyrak," he said, nodding toward the alien, "there's a new mission. Intelligence suggests a Vorax strike in the Epsilon sector. You two will lead a small team to prevent it." Together they had faced the impossible, survived, and succeeded. Together they could face whatever lay ahead. The human spirit, combined with alien intelligence, had proven a powerful force, and now it was ready to do it again. As they prepared for the mission, Alex reflected on everything he had learned. Humans often believed themselves to be fragile, limited, or inferior to other species. But his experiences with Zyrak had shown him otherwise. Humanity's resilience, creativity, and courage were unmatched. They could adapt, improvise, and overcome challenges that seemed insurmountable. And when humans embraced trust and collaboration, even with the most unlikely of allies, they became unstoppable. Zyrak studied him silently, telepathically sensing his thoughts. "Your species' potential is extraordinary. Cooperation amplifies strength." Alex smiled faintly. "And your species is reliable when it counts." Actions had spoken for both of them, forging a bond that transcended species. When the shuttle finally lifted off for the Epsilon sector, Alex looked around at the squad. Each member carried the same quiet determination, the same willingness to risk everything for survival and success. And beside him, Zyrak moved with calm precision, a reminder that unity and trust could overcome the deadliest of threats. The stars stretched infinitely ahead, each one a challenge, a mystery, or a potential battlefield. Alex felt the weight of responsibility, but also the thrill of possibility. Humanity had survived countless threats, adapted to the unknown, and thrived where others had failed. And now, with allies like Zyrak, they were stronger than ever. "We are ready," Alex thought. "Affirmative," Zyrak replied. And as the shuttle glided silently through space, carrying humans and aliens toward another uncertain future, Alex Mercer understood a profound truth. Humanity's greatest weapon was not technology, not strength, nor numbers. It was the courage to act, the ability to adapt, and the willingness to trust, even when the odds seemed impossible. The partnership forged in fire, danger, and shared purpose was proof of this truth. Humans could rise to any challenge, endure any trial, and overcome any enemy when they believed in themselves, and when they embraced allies who respected and complemented their strengths. And with Zyrak at his side, Alex knew that the universe, no matter how vast or dangerous, was theirs to face. Together, they would continue to fight, survive, and prove that humanity, in its resilience and ingenuity, was a force unlike any other. As the shuttle disappeared into the star-strewn void, the bond between human and Krith was sealed, a symbol of unity, courage, and the enduring power of the human spirit. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers yet to be faced, but Alex Mercer was ready. Humanity had survived worse. Humanity would endure, and with allies like Zyrak, they would not just survive, they would thrive.